But yeah, Shirley Murdoch was a big thing. And then you had Roger Troutman. Roger Troutman was on everything. And he had that versatility too back then because Roger Troutman, he came from the popular family group of Roger and Zapp. Because, he came from a very large musical family made up of different brothers and sisters. And they were a really big thing in the 80s because, they had, I've been searching for someone to do that special love with me. They had Computer Love, and then they had what's another song that they had? They had Computer Love, and then they had I wanna be your man. I wanna be your man. So yeah, they had that. So Roger Troutman, he was very successful in his own right. But due to him having that voice box sound and it being able to be used with like oldie goldies and with different hip hop things and R&B, he had that versatility. And the best part about Roger and Zach was that he was respected by the elder community. He was really loved by the younger community too, especially in the hip hop world because he was loved by people by like H Town, Shirley Murdoch. Well, Shirley Murdoch, she came up with him and she was respected too amongst the younger people in the 90s. And then he was well loved and revered by DJ Quick because DJ Quick is a very gifted producer and he did a lot of stuff with Roger in the 90s. And Roger was even respected in the gospel community as well because he did do a song called Hold On, the Change Is Coming by the Sounds of Blackness. So he was like very versatile as well. So Roger Troutman was that guy when it came to doing remixes and different songs in the 90s. And he worked a lot with H Town as well because he and Dino, they were on a lot of songs together back then. So you really had that good mix and whatnot. And I just feel like in my spirit that Dino could have gone down so many different musical paths and musical legs in the early 2000s that would have been a really good transition for him. And plus, H Town was still popular. And then I remember like watching the Unsung, and they talked about how, after Dino died, their popularity started picking back up, especially on social media. And when you go on a lot of YouTube videos of H Town, like Dino is the main one talked about in the comments. We love him. We miss him. He was so soulful and, rest in peace and rest in heaven. Like, it's sad, but it was a part of God's plan for him to leave. But if he wouldn't have left and if it wasn't his time to go, and if he would have got the respect and the due justice that he deserved, he would have been a really big singer. And then with H Town still being big, because I've also noticed that H Town's popularity has highly increased over the years, especially in the past 3 years, and not just with H Town, but with a lot of R&B acts. Because you do see other artists like John B that are heavily requested. Jagged Edge has become heavily requested. Case and 112 and Drew Hill and Genuine, even with his little genie head, even with his little genie head dance that he be doing. These people are highly revered and still highly sought after. And even Tyler the Creator sampled the song from H Town um, Backseat No Sheets. And I mean, H Town is still highly loved and revered, no matter what happened to them and what they've gone through. And I also feel like if Dino would have lived and if it was, in God's plans for him to live longer than he did, I feel like he would have made the money that he rightfully deserved to. Because, nowadays, due to social media and having Spotify, YouTube, and TikTok, and all these different channels of music, people have more control over their money. And they don't have to solely depend on a record label to give them their just due or to give them their flowers and stuff like that. And I really do feel like if Dino, would have lived longer, he would have not only gotten the due diligence that he deserved, but I felt like he would have made the money too because these guys now doing these tours every day all over the city and even in other countries. Like Shazam and GI, they probably millionaires and they probably a lot richer now than they was in H Town because even when they first started out, in H-Town, they got cheated out of a lot of money, like a lot of them did, sadly. But I feel like if Dino would have lived longer, he would have saw the money that he deserved, and he would have gotten the flowers that he deserved as well. Cause people still love him. They still talk about him to this day. They still visit his grave, and people still play his music, blast his voice, talk about it, and just love him and celebrate him. So in the confirmation reading that I did, his spirit did linger a little bit with me, and it was sad, but his spirit is at peace because he did say in the confirmation reading I did that all is forgiven and all is well, because he came to terms with a lot of stuff that happened. But his soul is at peace and he's flying high now. So the past is the past and he's in a happy place. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope Shada Great, who requested this, enjoyed this video. So don't forget to like, leave positive comments in the comments section, and subscribe to this channel. So have a good night.